Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and today we have a top 8 breakdown for the Zulu card games pre-Ultimate Cup win-a-box that was hosted last night with myself and Yoshi. It was a 25-player tournament to win a box of BT12, and we do have this top 8 breakdown that we see here today. Also, it was Ultimate Cup Format 2, which was kind of what we're seeing for most of the rest of this month for this card game too, which monocolor and a couple additional restrictions as well. But, just a unique format for specifically us here in North America. That's pretty cool too. And it was live streamed, as I just talked about, which is here on my Twitch and will be re-uploaded to here on YouTube as well. And this is all linked on my website, which is linked in the description as well if you guys want to see these deck lists. So honestly, a pretty good variety of cards. We're going to look at every one of these decks just because honestly there's 7 unique ones, and I didn't want to since we're already doing 7, let's just do the 8th one. We'll do 2 Ulforces go for it. But pretty diverse from what we're seeing here. I do think like most of these decks are pretty viable, and we have been seeing a little bit of the international Ultimate Cups too for the BT12. So 2 Ulforce, 1 BWGX, 1 Red Hybrid, 1 D Reaper, 1 Machinedramon, 1 Black or Gray X, and a Gallant. And if I was to put an 8th one into this pie chart, it would probably be Bloomlord. I think Bloomlord is also pretty good, and people are running it too. Just didn't get a top 6 or top 8 finish for this event today. So anyways, we're going to go over these deck lists, starting off with our first place is Sergiy with their first place Beelzemon X. And obviously this is a list that did get hit with the restriction list, not only in the Ultimate Cup, but also in the actual meta too. So we do have EX2 Impmon to 1. But still, I think this deck is, very strong. It has a lot of gas with it. And the only thing that you are missing out on a little bit extra free mill, but I think that Sergiy has made some decisions to help do that as well. So putting in 3 copies of Miss Memory Boost, which helps you get the early mill, as well as making sure that you can get some memory later in the game, which I think is nice. And also we do have like a 1 copy of Beelstar as well, which can help you get some Impmons and get that the rush with them really good. And then just kind of like the standard line, only running 4 copies of Balmon, but also 4 Rivals Barrage to help you get there. Obviously this is Ultimate Cup format, so you can't be running any X antibodies or anything, so just kind of doing a standard line. And it's just really like a medium size like bottom end, and then like a pretty high top end too, with also only 1 copy of the Blast Mode. And honestly, there's a lot of options in this build too, which I'm just kind of noticing, because they're only running 2 of the BLZ from EX2, 2 of the Star Deck BLZ, and then 2 of the X antibody, which normally I see more of the top end here, and only 1 Blast Mode. Sometimes I see 2 of this too, but he's been playing this a lot, and he's also using the Pokemon Egg, which is an on deletion trash 2 instead of the Yamon on attack. So I've been seeing people kind of shuffle between which ones they like more, and I know he's been kind of favoring this one as well. So that's the deck list. Congratulations to Sergiy for winning, and for their box of BT12. Hope you get some good pulls from that as well. Next up, we have our Ulforces. So starting off with Luis's second place Ulforce, who also did win the previous night's the Gaia Force Gaming Event 2, which is on this channel if you guys want to check this out. I'm pretty sure this is the exact same deck list, so I don't have much more to say. But I do think in general, Ulforce has been more in this meta, which a little bit more than I was expecting. And it was kind of just, it's a glass cannon, I'd say, in like regular BT12, and hasn't been getting a lot. But that was also, before the EX2 Impmon hit as well. So since that deck's a little bit slower, I think this deck has a little bit more of a chance. But it is very strong. There's a lot of ways for interaction, and it's been doing very well, I think, in the Ultimate Cup format. I think also like it's Crossheart and Hunters are a little bit faster, and all your Tamers are kind of negative interaction for you on this deck too. So being able to have those 2 out of the meta, I think, opens the door for Ulforce to be well as well. So this is Luis's build too, and then we also have Hien's 6th place Ulforce as well. And I also do kind of want to mention too that I think maybe something that's different is that there's a little bit more accessibility for this deck, and the fact that I think arenas are finally kind of going down in price as well. This was kind of like, it's a secret rare, as a tamer you got to run 4 of them for your deck to be very good, and especially since it's a secret rare and it was only really good in this archetype, the cost for it was pretty high for especially a playset. So I think that's been going down a little bit, and that's maybe just helping the people with the accessibility of it as well. So, but I will say, like, Hien's looking a little bit different with this. I've been seeing a little bit more of the people running like the Dracomon archetype, where they put this in a couple copies and running the Babydomon instead of the Wanyamon for the draw. You just get a +1k when your card becomes unsuspended, which is pretty easy for you. So there are a lot of kind of DP barriers you want to try to get over sometimes, and and being able to use this to increase the DP on an egg is pretty helpful there. So I think that's really helpful. And additionally, Leomon package seems to be the more popular, at least topping from these first couple weeks for the Ultimate Cup format too. So using a couple copies of Jerry's, using the Leomons, which you can't potentially play for free, and just kind of go from there. And then also Great Maelstrom, when you would use this card by placing one of your blue Digimon at the bottom devolution card of one of your other blue Digimon, you get to reduce the cost by 3, and then so for essentially 6. If you do that, return one of your opponent's Digimon to the bottom of its owner's deck, so getting some removal there, and not proccing any on deletions that some Digimon might have. It's moderately good removal for that as well, and it can be obviously procced in security. So that is kind of the list here, and congratulations for Hien for their 6th place with this Ulforce 2. Next up we have Alan with their 3rd place Red Hybrid, and I think like Red Hybrid's been pretty understood as like a good deck in BT12 at this point. You are missing a little bit in this format too, with Bokomons and Namons, which normally are running a couple copies of those, and also no Blitz Omni to kind of finish the game either. But I think this deck does have a lot of strength in what it's able to do, and it can be very fast and just kind of punch very hard. So there is sometimes some consistency issues with it, and having 2 copies of, 2 different Takuya cards has helped the deck out a lot as well. I'm not sure if it's, I don't know, sometimes like Machinedramon does stop this. You do get to like higher DPs, but sometimes like, you get the redirect and you can just trash 2 sources as well. So it has some kind of polarizing matchups, I think, in Ultimate Cup, but it is very aggressive. It's sometimes able to go off, and if you're able to do that, it can do very well. So congratulations to Alan for their 3rd place there. And then we also have Luca with their 4th place D Reaper, and D Reaper's always been in a weird spot. It's been out in the game for almost a full year now. It was really popular when EX2 came out. It's been kind of waning since then and just kind of popping up in weird spots, but I do think, like, unironically, there are some really good matchups that you're able to use with D-Reaper in this format. Specifically, like, BWGX just can't touch any of the cards in this archetype pretty much, since a lot of them are based off play costs, and these cards are by levels. And so since these cards don't have levels, they don't kind of interact with that, which is really interesting. Like, Red Hybrid, I think, is probably one of the worst matchups for this, but it can still go back and forth. Like, the match that we recorded on stream was Luca versus Gage, or Alan. So this matchup here, and it went to game 3. It was really close. So I think there's just a lot of obviously it's pretty kind of straightforward from a deck building process, but I do think that this deck can surprise some wins and get some really good matchups across the board for this format. So we'll have to see if someone's bold enough to take it to an actual Ultimate Cup and do well with it. But congratulations to Luca for their 4th place, and we'll see if it's more of a trend or a one of for this guy. All right, next up we have Mohannad with their 5th place Machinedramon, and Machinedramon, I feel like this deck is very good, and I've been kind of waning with it a little bit, just for the fact that the consistency for it is not super high all the time, but the longer the game goes, I feel like the better this deck becomes. Their deck, the meta in Ultimate Cup is a little bit slower as well too, which helps this deck out set up a little bit, but I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about this. I don't know. This is an interesting build in a lot of ways too. Heavy attack of the heavy mobile Digimon, I think, is less and less of a needed card in this archetype, with the fact that Chaos X is such a strong card. You'd rather just kind of go into that for the turn than the functionality for this. So 3 is like the most I've seen in a minute. Most people just run like 1 or 2 copies. We run Analog Man as well, but only 3 copies, so you can also play the Ryo. So on play, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, add 1 card with Dramon or just Dramon in its name among to your hand, then place remain at the bottom. And your turn, when you attack with the black Digimon, you can suspend this tamer to have that Digimon get plus 1k until the end of your opponent's turn. So this does give you like the boost until the end, and that means that if you have one of your black Digimon attack, like one of your Machinedramons, you're able to attack with it. And then if you have reboot, you can swing it right back, which you can get reboot from also Ganemon as well, which you'd have to kind of go up your line for that, but that's kind of fine. You really kind of desperately want reboot in this deck at times. So we have like the reboot off Digimon, which helps you, and I think is that really it? There's blocker from Aandroidd and reboot. There's blocker there. I think that's like the only sense of reboot too, which is interesting. But you don't have to be an active 2 if you have your analog man, so you can get the redirects. And if you have like a higher DP, that's like the only good way people have to remove these cards at times. So I think this is Machinedramon is really configurable, which I think is really nice. A lot of people have their own builds for it and ratios, which is neat. And this is Mohannad's build here. So congratulations for that. I think we're going to see a lot more Machinedramon in the rest of this month too. And I'm looking forward to that to see what people are choosing. So next up we have our 7th place list. So this is Jimi with their Black War Greymon X. And this is a really interesting build as well. Most of we're used to kind of like the red base for a lot of these, and but this is a black based version of Black War Greymon X. So being able to kind of go up your chain and then being more defensive with it. And when I've been looking at this format in general, I think the black base is better than the red base, at least for like the Black War Greymon archetype itself. You really kind of want the Yuyas and the Tais. They kind of make a lot of difference for you. You're kind of at a rough spot for like your level 4s. There's not like amazing Greymons all the time. So you kind of have to use like the jamming one if it has a reboot. Also Greymon here with blockers. So like Greymon blocker is great, and also Greymon here from BT12. You definitely would miss some more of the BT11s, which is why they're running the Deltamon, the promo card. So this is your turn. When this Digimon would Digi-evolve into a card with 2 colors and composite trait, you can reduce the evolution cost by 2, which means it's essentially Greymon X antibody when it comes to that reduction. And then when attacking for each card, for each one of these Digimon colors, delete one of your opponent's Digimon at 3k DP or less. So being able to use that to get some board clear. But just the reduction going up your chain is, I think, really important, and something that is what we're really missing for Greymon X antibody. So being able to kind of supply it with that, I think, is good. A lot of people have been talking about it, and it's neat to see that it worked on this one. And I think it's a good card for this archetype. And especially if you're not using any other X antibodies, you're kind of free to just do a regular Digivolve into here and then go up your chain. So there's that, and then just the regular top end, Black War Grey X, Black War Greymon, and then 2 Gaiamons as well, since we can't do any level 7s in this list. And also 2 Hades Forces and 1 Dark Gaia Force. I don't think Hades Force is as important against not with Crossheart and Hunters not being in this format, but it can be pretty impactful still. And Dark Gaia Force being able to choose any number of your opponent's Digimon whose play cost adds up to 15 or less and delete them. Can get a pretty good board wipe there. So anyways, that is the list here. Congratulations to Jimi for their 7th place. And to wrap it up, we have Zachary's 8th place Gallantmon. And I think Gallantmon is also a deck that's gone a little bit better with the Ultimate Cup format. It's mostly been a mono red deck anyways, and it's kind of been a little bit slower to set up, but once you're able to set up, it's in a good spot. It also has like a really weird matchup against Beelzemon where you just kind of stare at them and they have like 4 life for most of the game, and they just kind of mill out their deck, and then you can use Crimson mode to just do all of the damage and then just kind of swing for game too. So that's pretty good for you, just to kind of slowly interact with your opponent's board, slow down what they're doing. Eventually they'll get enough cards milled from their deck and you can kind of take advantage of it. So I think that's nice. We obviously have new cards from BT12 for this list as well. So for example, the BT12 Gallantmon that has Raid, the Gilmon here, which lets you find all the Tocados from the top 4, put them in your hand, and also the Groundmon, which lets you play one for free as long as you don't have one out, which is pretty helpful for you there too. So I think it's helpful. Only running 2 of the 4-drop and 3, and then 4 of the 3-drop is nice. This Biomerge devolution with this card is neat. I don't think it's really consistent all the time, so I think it's okay for what we're doing there. And can't help you just kind of go into Crimson mode if you really need to. So I think it's neat to run a couple copies, but I agree that 4 is kind of probably too much for it. But anyways, that is the list here. Congratulations to Zach for their top 8 finish. And that is going to be it for us. So thank you guys all for everyone who came out for this event. If you guys want to check out some future events, we announced them on my Discord as well as here, but it's where we have like the main hub for that as well. We'll be doing probably our next Digimon tournament when EX4 comes out. So a couple weeks from now, nothing in the immediate, but thank you guys for all the support. Thank you guys for everyone who showed up. Congrats again to Sergiy for their 1st place finish there. And that's going to be it for us. So again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.